Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast, aims to provide general information and insights about dementia and related topics. The content shared is not intended to be medical advice or a substitute for professional medical or clinical guidance. Purpose or goal of this podcast series is to help inform and educate family members considering memory care for a loved one. Coming to you live from the Haidee and Allen Wild Center for the Arts on the Cottey College campus in Nevada, Missouri. Yes, a little bit delayed, but they're glad to be here anyway. With us, as always, is Elizabeth Thompson, Arrow Senior Living Senior Regional Director of Memory Care. Welcome. I'm Charlie Johnson, your host. Howdy, Elizabeth.
Hello, Charlie.
We've had a lot of great laughs together.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly off mic and off camera, but we both appreciate the importance of humor, and I know you still have hope for me.
Okay.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's discuss those two things as they relate to dementia care.
Sounds good. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about this topic. Humor and hope are two of the most powerful tools that we have. So not just for those living with dementia, but for caregivers too. So super excited.
Absolutely. So let's start with humor.
Okay.
And so, some people, might think that dementia care is too serious of a subject for laughter. Now, what would you say to that?
I agree that is the case, but I would say that laughter is essential to dementia care for people living with dementia and for the caregivers.
Absolutely.
So it can be challenging. Caring for someone who has dementia can be very challenging, but it's also full of moments that are tender and funny and deeply human. It helps us connect. Humor helped us connect.
Yeah. You're very funny. I'm not talking about your looks. I am talking about your
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking about your personality.
Well, so are you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But anyway, it does help us connect. It helps us to diffuse tense moments that can sometimes be frequent for those living with dementia, and bring joy into everyday interactions. It's not just about making light of the situation. It's about finding the light within that situation. So creating moments of joy, just like my favorite book, Creating Moments of Joy.
That's your favorite book?
That's one of my favorite dementia books, yes.
Well, that's a good plug for your favorite book. So can you share maybe an example or two?
Oh, yeah. I've got a ton. I'll share a few.
Give us a couple.
So one resident at one point in time used to call her walker a Cadillac. And so every time she would come into the dining room, she'd say, "Make way for luxury." And it just became this running joke, and it lifted everybody's spirits. Those moments matter. We had another gentleman who, he was a farmer. He grew up on a farm. He was a farmer all throughout his adult life, and he wore long johns. And I'm talking the long john shirt and the long john pants. And he would get up in the morning with his long john shirt on and his long john pants and his cowboy boots and come to breakfast. But that's how he ate breakfast every morning on the farm. And so, those moments are, you're like, well, hello there, here he is in all his glory.
So what were the reactions from the other residents?
Oh, that's what's so funny. The other residents that are living with dementia, they don't really react.
They didn't see anything wrong with it.
They didn't see anything wrong with it. Yeah. We're living in a home. We're all, this is our home.
Yeah, it's our home, so it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. And then I had another lady that was, I've talked about her frequently because she was just such a light in my life. But she was a flight attendant. And anytime we all sat down at this particular community that I was in, our couches faced each other. And then there was a big TV there. And then there was another couch here. So kind of like a U shape. But anytime we would all sit down on those couches, she would start doing her arms like the exit signs. And she'd say, I need you to take your seats. And we'd be like, okay. And I'd say, where are we going today? And she'd say, we're on a flight to Paris. It was just so there's so much joy in those moments. You just go with it. I mean, if I were to say, that's not appropriate for you to have on in here, go change your clothes, or we're not on a flight, we're getting ready to do a sing-along with Susie, that would just upset them and just hurt their feelings, and it just would be awful. So
yeah. It's another great example of going into their world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joining their reality.
I
had a lady that thought that she was on a cruise ship every day. She would tap her neighbor's hand and say, how long are you on this ship for? And I was just like, hey, I'm okay if I'm working on a cruise ship every day.
Yeah, I'd be okay, I think, on a cruise ship. I've enjoyed several cruises. So I think that's probably be a great place to live.
Yeah.
Well, that's really some great stuff. Thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about hope. What does hope look like in dementia care?
I believe we get confused on hope when it comes to dementia care because we think hope is about finding a cure. But really, hope in dementia care is about creating meaningful moments. Hope is about hoping that day you can help someone have a smile. Hoping that day you can create a connection with someone. Hoping that you can provide someone who's living with dementia, who's in distress, some peace. It's believing that even as the disease progresses and that they're declining, there's still dignity, there's still joy, and there's still purpose in their lives. And that's something that for people living with dementia, we have to create that for them. It's up to us to help create that so that we are empowering them to live their best life and still have joy and meaning and purpose.
Absolutely. That's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
So how can we help caregivers hold on to hope?
Celebrating the small wins, the small victories. We get caught up in what a person living with dementia can't do. Oh, well, they can't do that anymore. Well, they used to paint. Oh, well, they can't do that anymore. Oh, they used to take care of the gardens at the golf course. They can't do that anymore. What can they still do? Because there's always something that they can still do. Even someone who is end of life on hospice, can they tap their hand? Can they smile? Can their eyes light up? What can they still do that we can focus on, bring light to, and make a difference with them? Maybe it's remembering a song lyric. I had a lady that got to where she started off with us very high functioning, but as her disease progressed, she got to where she couldn't communicate very well. And she would just say things like, la, 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 la. She just didn't really even talk very much. But I would, if I got up close to her, if it was quiet, and I got down on her eye level, so she's in a wheelchair, I'd squat down and get on her eye level. And I would put my hands on the tops of her knees, and I would just look at her and I'd say, you are my sunshine. And she would start singing. Oh, you're going to cry. I'm sorry. But she would start singing. She couldn't communicate with me. She couldn't tell me her name, but she would start singing. That That is hope. That's joy. That's what we do for. You know, I just think that we have to focus on what's still possible. And even a gentleman that was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, but I had a gentleman that was literally breaths away from passing away, who had family that wasn't there. And it was to no fault of theirs. I mean, one lived in California, one lived in Florida. So opposite sides of the world and or of the United States. And I was sitting beside him, holding his hand and singing and just talking to him and telling him how much I loved him. And right before he took his last breath, he smiled and he squeezed my hand. And that's what it's all about, you know? That's what it's about.
Damn.
Sorry.
Some good stories. So how can caregivers intentionally, they want to intentionally bring humor and hope into their daily routines? How can they do that?
You have to be intentional about it, but even using silly nicknames and gentle teasing. I mean, once you get to know the person, and by all means, you want to respect them. But I had a lady named June, and we called her Junebug, and she loved that. She loved that. I had another lady that did not want to be called by her name. She wanted us to call her Grandma, and that's what brought her joy. She thought everybody taking care of her was that she was their grandma. We were her grandkids. Turn routines into rituals, like a dance party, like telling all of your residents it's time for lunch. Let's all dance to the dining room, so we're going around the hallways dancing and singing to the dining room. Make it fun. The thing that's so amazing about memory care that makes me just fall in love with memory care is I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't act, I can't do anything, but they think I'm amazing. And that is what's so cool. I can dance crazy and they're laughing and they're dancing right along. I can sing off key. They're singing with me. Just have fun. Share stories, reminisce. We've got, in our communities, we've got the life stations that are around our neighborhoods that you can reminisce with. But I even brought I just got a clear shoebox from Dollar Tree, which is no longer $1 anymore. It's $1.25. Hello?
$1.25 tree.
Yeah, it's $1.25 tree. Anyway, clear shoebox, and I put some shoe shining things in there, like a brush and a mitt and some shoe polish. And I had on my little ballet flats, and I went up to my resident, we'll call him Howard, and I'm like, Howard, I've got to shine my shoes for a job interview. I don't know how to do it. He lit up. He's like, well, I can show you how to do that. And taught me how to shine my shoes. I knew how to shine my shoes, but you know what? It made him feel good. So reminiscing, he was in the Army. He had to have his boots shined all the time. So that was important to him. Stay flexible, because humor often comes from out of nowhere, unexpected. Just be open to it. Model positivity. One thing about people living with dementia, they're not babies, and we should not treat them like babies. But if we're looking at brain scans of a newborn and of someone with dementia, those brain scans are very similar. And we know that as a new mom, I can attest to this because my kids are grown now, but with my first child, I was a wreck. I probably needed like Valium or something. I don't know, but I was very stressed.
Well, you did a lot of drinking back then.
Did I? No, that was before her.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was when I was in college.
Yeah. In college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, when we're stressed, our residents feed off that just like a baby does. And, our tone sets the tone of the day. So am I going to be happy today?
Yeah.
Or am I going to be, this day sucks, because it's going to just filter around to everybody else. And it's kind of like when you're in a restaurant and one baby starts crying, then they all start crying. If you are upsetting one resident with dementia, you're going to upset them all.
Right.
So
right.
you've got to make sure that you're coming in positive for that day, whether you're a caregiver at home or a caregiver in a community.
People definitely pick up on your attitude.
Yes.
And how you're feeling that day.
Yeah.
So
and laughter therapy is another thing. It's a real thing. I tried it and it worked. It's just where you, like when I did it with the residents, we got in a circle and we just did some deep breathing exercises. And then I just started like fake laughing, really loud and bodacious, just
the way you normally do.
The way I normally do, yeah, my cackle. And it was like a ripple effect. They all started laughing at me. And then I started really laughing because they were laughing at me. But it's called laughter therapy. And there are studies that have been done that show that laughter therapy or laughter boosts your immune system and reduces anxiety by 20% just by laughing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, this has been a refreshing conversation, I would say. What are your final thoughts?
Just that dementia care is hard. I mean, that's a fact. It's hard, but it's also full of beauty. Humor and hope don't erase those challenges, but they certainly make the journey lighter. They remind us that we're caring for people, not just symptoms, and that joy is always possible.
You're absolutely right. And Elizabeth, thank you for bringing hope to our listeners and watchers every week and sharing your humor with us along the way.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.
And thank you all for sharing. Yeah, I can't even say it. For sharing your time with us.
I love you.
I love you.
But I'm not going to wipe your butt when you eat it.
Yes, we have a live audience today, so we'll take some questions from the audience. Who has one?
Do you have? Yeah.
I have one. So, actually, you two both had an emotional moment just during this episode. How do you guys handle like being on camera, having like those like raw emotions, and then coming back from that to being like?
Obviously, we don't handle it very well.
I think that's...
Will you restate the question?
Yes. So the question was, we had some raw moments during this podcast, and how do we kind of bounce back after having a raw moment? And the answer to that, and Charlie, I'll let you share too, but I think our podcast is about something that's raw, and it's okay to have those moments. What we do, I'm gonna have another one. What we do can be very challenging, and we're hoping that people that are listening get that they're not alone in this struggle. Oh, now I can't see you. I got to put my glasses back on. Oh, there you are. It is a challenge. So sometimes, I mean, I don't know. We bounce back pretty quickly because we know we've got a job to do. But I don't think that those moments are a bad thing, if that makes sense.
Well, I think it makes it personal, but certainly, I'm sorry, what she was describing brought back moments of my personal experience with my mother and my mother-in-law. So I was flashing back in time to my personal experiences. But I think that's what I can bring to this podcast, is that I'm not an expert on dementia, but I can bring that personal touch and all the bullshit that I give Elizabeth along the way. And that's kind of my job.
Yeah, he's good at it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
That was a great question. So you kind of went through this within the podcast itself, but especially for caregivers, right? When you're talking about the joy, what might you specifically say to like a caregiver that feels like the guilt in feeling some of those emotions?
Do I need to repeat that, or was it loud enough? Okay, so I believe the question is how do I help someone, a caregiver, who is experiencing guilt to have these moments? It really kind of depends on that caregiver and their personality. Definitely them getting, some counseling support from someone one-on-one is what I would encourage them to do, but also just to simplify it and let's just have one moment of joy today. Just one. We don't have to make the whole day a fun, joyful, woohoo day, but let's find one today. And then tomorrow, let's find two.
No, like I say, I'm not the expert. I'm just a talking
yes, you
head.
are.
I'm just a talking head. I don't know anything.
You cared for your mother.
Yes,
That's huge. That makes you an expert.
I always do my best not to embarrass her, and to give her dignity. And one thing I will say is that I took care of my mother at home way too long, and she should have been under professional care much sooner than she was. And that's something that I regret. And certainly, hopefully, with our education that we're putting out, that hopefully we can encourage folks to make that move sooner. And if they are taking care of a loved one at home, hopefully we're helping them in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
How I think of it is that sometimes, like, people with, like, undesirable traits or, like, bad people with dementia still have that core personality. And obviously, like, not everyone is going to be as, like, not everyone can be as, like, I guess it's easy to get along with. Mm-hmm. So I was just wondering how you handle those situations.
Okay. So the question was posed with people who are living in memory care who maybe aren't the nicest people or say and do things that are inappropriate. How do we handle that, and how do we have healthy boundaries? So it's interesting that you say this. I love to teach people about dementia, but honestly, I had a preacher one time who was well loved by everyone in the community. He was a wonderful man. But when he got dementia, he became a pervert. I mean, to put it mildly. He would say things that were very inappropriate, do things that were very inappropriate, but that wasn't him. That was his brain failure. And that was the part of his brain where he lacked that filter. Think about what it would be like, and there's like a Jim Carrey movie about this, but if everything you thought was out in public for everybody to see, just when you're walking down the street looking at people, I mean, because we're judgmental. I mean, we would think things that we shouldn't think. I mean, I am a very happily married woman, but I mean, if, I don't know, Matthew McConaughey's standing in front of me, I'm going to be like, damn. I mean, with different types of dementia, especially like a frontotemporal lobe dementia, they don't have that ability to say that's not appropriate for me to say. They see it and they say it. Nice boobs. Or, I'm going to touch her butt. Those kind of things. So some of it is the disease. There are people, though, that, like you said, that were never very wholesome, nice people. And it kind of depends. It's very important to know the people that you're caring for. So for my gentleman who was the preacher, I would just, if he would be frisky or say something inappropriate, I would say, it's about time for Bible study. It was like a reset for him. And it was like, oh, I better go find my Bible. For another gentleman who would get kind of frisky when I was trying to give him a shower, I ignored it because I think he would respond if I was giving him a response in response to his behavior. So I just acted like he didn't do anything. I just ignored it. So different responses for different people, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I would think too, for people that are coming in from outside of the world of dementia that don't know all these things that can happen, it could be very scary. It could be very scary. But what an awesome thing that your church did. Thank you.
And we do want to take a moment to thank Cottey College for having us here to record our first session of Season 3, Thoughtful Connections, a Memory Care podcast. All right. Yeah. At Arrow Senior Living, we believe in the power of a chuckle, maintaining a childlike sense of wonder, and defending the dignity of others. Until next time, this is Charlie Johnson with Arrow's Thoughtful Connections, a Memory Care podcast, wishing you fond memories filled with moments of joy. And remember, if you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia.
You can find Thoughtful Connections, a Memory Care podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts.